They're making sure that storyline keeps going.
What is this shutout with an asterisk?
Vander Kane was victim of a worse screw job in Montreal than Bret the Hitman Hart.
We get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to the net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Get pucks on net.
Continue to put pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
Pucks on net.
Pucks on net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
5 long years. Live on tape from Geeta's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor that doesn't allow live Christmas trees. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast that doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats. Am I reading that off a mug? Nobody knows.
They also don't want us to get festive until December 1st.
Anything over November 11th, I'm cool with.
Yeah, but look around. You can see right into other people's buildings.
Yeah.
And people have had these trees up since October 31st.
Hey, as a millennial, I'm offended. Okay,
That Geeta's a peeping Tom.
That too. But no, that Christmas tree that I'm sitting next to might as well be a burning cross. I can't even see it. I'm so upset. You're such a rule breaker, dear God.
I don't even. Oh man.
What?
Well, every apartment building in Vancouver is privy to this notice. Like I got one too. No real trees and no trees of any kind up till December 1st.
Okay.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
When do you sell it? When do you start getting festive?
December 23rd. But then I leave the tree up till August.
Yeah, so you're set.
Yeah.
No, Ryan and Paul were here while I decked the halls.
We actually did 5 minutes for paying already because she was decorating the trees.
That works for me because I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, just a slight cold.
Oh, jeez.
Sinus infection, though. I don't think I'm contagious.
And it's cool because Paul, Ryan, and I are going on a Tinder date after.
A double Tinder date? Or did you just match each other and you're going out?
We're
it's a long time coming.
It's a proximity-based algorithm, so Ryan and I met up. He said he wanted to go out with a feisty brunette.
And we had a great time, actually.
We did.
We realized we have a lot in common.
I met Ryan online.
Where?
Twitter.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
We all went to college together. I'm very confused.
They didn't know each other. They didn't talk when we were going to school.
I knew you guys.
Well, yeah, we talked a bit, and Ryan and I were on BCIT's TV show for a while
My
together.
first podcast is my first conversation with Dave.
This is true. She remembers.
So with that being said, I'm Ryan.
I'm Paul, PMAC, as it were.
Huh?
Huh?
Were you going to tell me who I was?
I was saying I'm going clockwise in the room for those following along at home.
Oh, I'm Geeta.
I'm Dave. Please again, it's been slow. Go see Justice League. It's the second week.
I hear it's not doing that good.
A man's got to eat, Mr. Leahy.
I still got to see Thor.
Yeah, go see Thor too. That leads into the one that I may or may not be working on right now.
And we, a little randomly, kind of out of the blue, and maybe alcohol was a factor, but we put some Pucks on Net merch out on last week.
You went a little crazy.
I didn't go full Axl Rose, but I said this will be a good idea. So if you don't follow us on social media, you can go to pucksonet.ca and you can find the WordPress site, or you can just go to teespring.com and search for Pucks on Net. We have the traditional crow shirt for sale, which is a fan favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
It's a good one.
I wear to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
Promo the podcast.
PMAC's real gym rat.
I wore that in Bagan, Burma, and had 2 people ask me where they could get that shirt.
What's with the crow?
I gave him the Jake Jarmel answer. No, you can't get these.
And we also have a mug with podcast intro on it. But that being said, make sure you follow us at Pucksonnet.ca or Pucksonnet.ca. And if you want to support the show monetarily, whether it's through Patreon or through buying shirts or merch or at Patreon, you can do so, patreon.com/pucksonnet. And we already recorded 5 minutes, so that's fine. And, that's all the housework out of the way. I can get that out.
Cool. Well, let's get into it because it's been a busy week with all the hockey.
Now, people...
You didn't start out with let's do that hockey like everybody else has this week.
No, because it's not funny.
Shorthouse.
It's not funny. You know what happens with hockey and U.S. pop culture? All the hockey nerds get so excited that the sport gets mentioned at all in the mainstream. It has to be funny. Haha, Chance the Rapper said hockey.
No. I was being sarcastic.
I know you were. But just for all you kids out there, it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny at all. It was silly. And
It was
a little
okay.
and it was kind of racist. They imply that black people can't understand hockey.
Well, I mean, I got some racism at the bottom of the rundown here this week. If you want to read that,
We'll have some nice bookends on this episode.
yeah, racism bookends. It's been a while
God.
since we had a racism bookend.
I feel like that's not their first hockey-related skit either.
Well,
They had Wayne Gretzky host, and they did one where Wayne played hockey against Wayne Campbell for Janet Jones.
Yeah, that's true.
That was probably 30 years ago.
Yeah, that was a disaster. Now, like, some athletes can really pull it off and have done a great job. Like, back when he was still a wrestler, anytime The Rock hosted Saturday Night Live, it was great. Peyton Manning.
He's got one of the best.
Yeah, one of the best, but it's not for everybody. Gretzky's was pretty terrible. He was more wooden than his red and white Titan stick.
One of
Jeter?
my favorites is Jeter.
He did a pretty good job.
Jeter was okay.
He
Jeter
was one of the
okay.
ladies' back before it became transphobic. He went in drag and was one of the.
The wives of the players.
I thought he was the lady man. Oh, that was The Rock. The Rock played one of the ladies' mans.
The wives of the players sketch is really funny, actually.
Because they had like David Wells and people come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Connor McDavid to host.
Oh, we gotta.
He'll maybe do this hour as 22 minutes if he's lucky. If he's lucky.
Is that still on TV?
You could see him getting acne and breaking out on during the monologue.
I'm so nervous.
We got a great show for you tonight. Ed Sheeran's here.
Have you guys? Are you guys surprised that Sidney Crosby has never been asked to host Saturday Night Live? If he played for the Rangers, he
No
probably would
one's
have.
surprised.
Henrik Lundqvist has never been asked. He just played guitar on Jimmy Fallon that one time.
If Henrik Lundqvist had won a Stanley Cup in New York, he'd be a massive celebrity in New York. But he didn't win a Stanley Cup, and he never will. So he's a quasi-celebrity. He's a minor celebrity, and he might create a minor buzz.
Speaking of minor buzz, and I've actually, a lot of people have come up to me, and we all love Dave, but we don't want to tell you that you're right about things a lot because, then we have to grease the door jam to Geeta's palatial estate and get him out the door at the end of the show.
Because my head is so big.
But you were kind of right about Brock Boeser.
Yep, he's starting to cool off.
We had 1.5 games when he didn't score.
Yeah.
People are noticing him, though, and not just fans. Other teams.
Yeah, they're keying in on him. He's not just some late round pick that we got in a non-tank draft year.
It's like they're not going, oh, what was that? They're knowing that he's going to blast beautiful goals.
Social media is going crazy with this Boeser kid. We better get a tape on Boeser. We got to learn how to shut down Brock Boeser. There's something to be said. He's not wrong because, if you're a lazy coach like John Tortorella, goes, well, they got the Twins and some other kids, so we'll put
we're throwing everything we got against the Twins tonight.
Seth Jones and Werenski are going to play against the Twins, and then Boeser plays Stefan Kittel or whoever else they have on that team. So that's the point. The media has hyped him up. The fans have bought in, and maybe there is something to be said for that. Maybe now the Sharks put Brent Burns out there against him instead of the Sedin Twins.
I thought you guys were joking because it's seriously been a game and change. I mean,
he's cool. He's cool right off. Trade him.
So New Jersey's figured him out, is what you're telling me.
And the Rangers have figured him out.
He wasn't even playing with Bo Horvat for most of the last game. They broke up that line.
I know,
so
he's playing he set up Brandon Gauntz on that chance. And Brandon Gauntz gaunced it right at Henrik Lundqvist's pad.
It wasn't performance related. He's just trying to make up for losing his precious Brandon Sutter. So I'm like, what? This isn't a conversation piece yet.
No, not yet. But it's
not
we had a good thing going.
Yeah, we were riffing. Thanks, Paul.
I'd be watching the games this week. Go on, Paul.
Well, no, keep going, Ryan. I'll bring up my point.
But I'd be watching the games and I'd be audible. I'd be texting people Geeta, holy shit, Brock Boeser scored again and again and again. And we had a good thing going, and now he's defense, and the NHL has seeped in, and defense has taken over.
It was the hockey equivalent of a porn binge. Ryan was just passed out on his couch, just surrounded by tissues.
Well, his game started at 4 o'clock, right?
It's so good. He scored so much.
He's scoring goals as pretty as his hair.
Lose our PG rating. No, I was gonna say if we're talking about the Canucks, you know what we should be talking about? Louis Eriksson, the worst signing in Canucks history, according to Ryan.
I stand
Seems
by
like
it.
a pretty good player to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
People are naming their kids after him.
He only scores goals in games we lose.
I said give him a few months. We'll see where he's at that point. But yeah, he's had some injury problems, and
The pucks on net pump and dump is
I'm
back.
not. Yeah, well,
No, it's the dump and pump.
Dump and pump.
Because we dumped the shit out of him.
And now he's pumped up.
Yeah, like I think I was on the cover of The Province with my hot take about Louis Eriksson worse than Messier, and then I had a thumbs up. It was a slow news day. Don't worry about it.
Is that real? No one reads the newspaper. I can't remember the last time I saw a physical newspaper other than an airport.
They would give them out for free at like Waterfront, and I would grade a newspaper, and then I would put it down and go on the internet.
For our media friends who may or may not work there that listen to the show, you stopped updating your news app. It's just dead on my phone. This happens every so often, but it's been dead for 4 days where they have not updated any of the stories on their app.
There's no news.
The app is the only thing that you have left.
Yeah, we want you to cover the news. Just do it on the app.
Because the reason I like the Province News app is because I get my local news from there. And I avoid the fake news that the president warns me about that's on Twitter. so if you're out there listening, and I hope you are, if I complain about your app being, not updated on Twitter, it's not because I dislike it. It's because it actually is a really nicely formatted news app, and I can select, which stories I want, and just please update it because I like it. It gets my commute done.
He wants to see Ryan on the cover, ragging on
I don't
Louis
know
Eriksson.
if that's true. How would I know if it's true or not? I don't have access to your content.
Don't worry, it's fake news, Dave.
Okay.
You would have known if he was on the cover of the Province.
Yeah, he would have sent a woof. Graham tweet.
It would have been on my Instagram and the Pucks.net Instagram
and a bat signal or something.
He would have knocked on my door to tell me about it.
Wearing a newsboy hat, extra. It's very early on a Sunday.
It's 6 a.m. I still smell like scotch. Why are you here?
Speaking of uproars on Twitter, there was one last week because Bob McKenzie was on 1040, and all he basically said, they're going, how about this Boeser kid? How about Brock Boeser? And he says the truth. I wrote down the quote here, and they're asking about him in the Calder race, and Bob McKenzie on Boeser. And it was one tweet of two that went out of context. And he goes, I'm not sure there's a comparison other than he's a great goal scorer, talking about Boeser. There's the constant desire in Vancouver to award the Calder in November, but let's give it a month and see where it's at. And then another month. It's a hard league.
Is this something that Vancouver does all the time? We just award the Calder?
Jason King was the NHL Rookie of the Month in the month of November. I'm just going to, as excited as I am about Brock Boeser, I'm just lobbing that out there. I did the research. In his rookie year, he was the Rookie of the Month in November, and Brock Boeser is pretty much a shoe-in to win that right now.
He's got November on lock.
Not the way he played this weekend.
Clayton Keller was Mr. October, but Brock Boeser is Mr. November. But by January, we could be I wonder how he would look down in Utica. So we don't know. Hey, speaking of Utica, my buddy Goldie got called up.
Yeah.
I know, eh?
And Brandon Sutter has flown back to Vancouver from their long roadie, and there could be a chance we could finally see the liability. He doesn't play defense. That's his biggest concern. Goldie.
He's killing penalties in Utica.
That's great. Because that's his one thing, his one criticism, and they're worried about his defensive effort.
That's what they say about every young player.
They got the monorail, and they don't have Godolbin anymore because he's here. One thing that I would like to do is not talk about the Canucks so much.
Okay.
I still got a rag on Bob McKenzie.
Okay, well, go ahead.
I just wanted to finish that point. Dave segues so quickly.
He's the smartest hockey guy in the world, but if you know better, then maybe you should.
I will not go that far, but I think
maybe if you know more than he does, I don't know.
I can understand why people take issue with him saying Vancouver wants to award the Calder at this point, because you say Jason King. Well, what year was that with Jason King?
2004. Yeah, 2004.
5. So it's over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Every 10 or 12 years, Vancouver's so quick to award the Calder. Who else would be spoken of? Maybe Ben Hutton got a little bit of buzz early on.
But when you're old, time kind of,
it's true.
It molds and changes.
1995 feels like yesterday.
We're really over him, aren't we?
We are so over Ben Hutton.
Yeah.
You had a good. I saw you were on Twitter. You're talking about Troy Stetcher learning on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, so a teammate of mine from my hockey team, the Point Grey Black Vipers.
Not racist.
Not racist. We're mostly Asian dudes. Ray Chow tweeted at me that he thinks that the Canucks would be better off with Alex Biega. He also thinks that he'd be better off turning the puck over at the other team's blue line, but that's a whole other issue that I'll address with him on another day. Love you, buddy. He thinks that the team should be better off with the Bulldog in the lineup, and that might be true.
Yeah.
That might be true now, but I think that the ceiling on Troy Stecher is just a little bit higher than Alex Biega, and people have to remember, and I know that we're all getting excited. The Canucks are a couple games over 500 in a year in the Western Conference where it's not that strong, and getting 85 to 90 points might actually get you a wild card spot. It's possible that the Canucks will sneak in to the playoffs with maybe 10 more points than they had last year, which is hard to imagine, but it's possible. However, we need to remember what the mission is this year, and that any winning that they accomplish is a bonus, and that developing players like Stecher, like Boeser, Mr. November, and all the other young kids that are on the team like Jake Virtanen, as much press as he's gotten, he's only got 3 goals. We have to remember that it's development first and winning later right now, and learning on the job and learning on the fly with the right system in place where you're not getting beaten to death every night. They're only when they do lose, they're losing in shootouts. They're losing by 1 goal.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill you. It's far. It behooves the team to keep Stecher in the lineup and play him 20 minutes a night than to put the Bulldog in.
Are we going to close the show on the National with all this Mr. November talk? No?
Hey, he's coming to town.
Who's
The
coming
National?
The National.
Who's the National?
It's a band that was popular 5 or 6 years ago. Are they still popular?
I must have missed it.
What a segue from me.
Good band. Anyway, I am
No one
sorry
knows your
referencing-
hipster bands,
Did
Paul.
you think he was talking about the CBC?
I thought he was.
Kinda, yeah. I thought it
Peter
was
Mansbridge is coming to town. I'd go see that. I love him. He's Canada's father.
He's just going to go read the news out of the paper.
When he's not brushing Justin Trudeau's hair.
I did have a point based on what Dave
Yeah.
was saying, though. I mean, as far as guys like Biega being up with the team as a
Reserve?
ahead of maybe younger guys, he's the perfect guy for your 7th or 8th defenseman. And you look at some of the guys that are up, even Brendan Gauntz. I know there's still development going on there, but why is he there ahead of a Goldobin who has more of an upside? You do need for the bottom part of your lineup who's going to sit in the press box and who's going to sit on the 4th line. You kind of don't want to wreck if you can develop a guy on the farm, or you bring Stecher in because you can stick him in the lineup. You just want them playing, these young guys that have much to learn.
And Stetcher's an NHL defenseman.
Yeah.
Like, he would learn, unlike Goldobin, who's learning to kill penalties and do things like that he's never done before. It wouldn't do Stecher any benefit. It wouldn't serve him at all to put him in Utica.
He doesn't need it. He worked his way out of it last
So,
year.
Ray, I know you listen to the show and you tweet at us, and I love that about you, but your hot take there on the Bulldog could not have been more wrong.
Let me ask you a question. At what point this year does the Canucks go from being about development to, maybe they could do something in the playoffs?
You don't. If the day that they clinch the playoffs, then you go, okay, now we'll try to win some hockey games, and then maybe straight I'm serious, because you even want that experience. You want Troy Stecher to learn how to play in big games in March that means something, which was the big buzzword of the team last year.
Yeah,
playing meaningful games in March. So when the rubber hits the road and when there's chips on the table, then we pull shoot on them? I don't think so. You start making decisions based on trying to win hockey games when that X marks the spot. And I'm not kidding. That sounds extreme, but I really believe in it.
Well, let me ask you this.
This team, regardless, sorry to interrupt, if they make the playoffs, they're not winning the Stanley Cup. That's not going to happen.
Hey, the LA Kings won the Stanley Cup as a 8th seed. Let's be honest.
That's
here.
because
Vegas thinks they'll win it as an expansion team.
all Richards and Carter had to do that year was just put the bottle away for a couple of months, and they won.
Boys, sober up. Go back to Sober Island. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Even Dustin Penner's going to stop hitting the pancake beers.
But I asked this, and I'll ask this to PMAC. Just there, the whole kerfuffle of the year is what they do with Eric Gudbranson, and it's like if they make the playoff, if they're going to make the playoffs, and they go through they keep him through the deadline, just to get swept.
That's stupid. Yeah.
So should you?
Are we really going to care that we got 2 more hockey games? Let's talk about that for a second. Everybody puts the playoffs as that benchmark for teams that don't really have a chance of winning the Stanley Cup. But what does an extra week of hockey really get a franchise?
national television.
Development experience for Brock Boeser.
But like
That's fair. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give Paul that. That's fair.
But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. Go on, Paul.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as Gudbranson's concerned, it's one of those guys that, depending on who you ask, are you really giving up that much? I would argue there is some value to having a tougher defenseman, kind of like Lucas Spiza in the lineup. And I know he's not the top 4 guy everybody wanted.
I'm
But
laughing
he's-
because you said Lucas Spiza is tough.
He fought a couple times.
It's all relative, right, Dave? Like relative.
Oh, he's
to the
tougher
rest
than me.
Of the decor, the Canucks don't have the toughest decor.
Troy
so
Stetcher can fight.
I see why there's extra value placed by management and coaches on a Lucas Spiza, on Eric Gudbranson, because they don't have a whole lot to work with.
No, they don't.
When it comes to physical defensemen.
You're right. You're right. But like, if the question is, would you move him even though you're in contention at the deadline? And the answer is yes, because you have enough depth on defense in this organization where if you take Gudbranson out, let's say they're healthy. Let's say the Canucks are healthy at that time. If that's still a serviceable top 6 without him.
No, if their defense is healthy based on the strides that Derek Pouliot has made and Del Zodi,
Oh man,
you could even the Bulldog.
those 2 moves by Benning might have been sneaky his best moves since he's gotten here. Really,
But yeah,
it's Del Zotto and Pouliot. Pouliot's been great.
as far as Gudbranson, though, what I'm thinking at the deadline happens is if he's picked up his game, which is that much harder now with some injury stuff under his belt again, he's become the guy you want to keep anyway, so it's fine. If he hasn't, you might still be in the territory where you can fleece somebody who still thinks he's really good. So I think the Canucks are in a safe space, there's a nice term, right now when it comes to the Gudbranson trade, because, yeah, you're going to know by the deadline what you're getting out of Gudbranson. And if he's playing well, you probably want to give him, that's the thing, you give him another bridge deal. I don't think he's played long enough, well enough to warrant anything big. But if he's playing well, you hold on to him, I think. Take a risk
He's
on
the
him.
world's okayest NHL defenseman.
There's a lot of defensemen like that in the NHL. Like most of the Canucks decor is very okay.
Yeah,
And it depends on what market he plays at. If Eric Gudbranson is playing in Toronto last year and he's playing the way he's played now and they make the playoffs, he looks like a difference maker.
Yeah, he's like Matt Martin.
The team's 20 points better than it was last year, and Gudbranson wasn't here and he's here now, and he didn't make a lot of blooper reels by turning the puck over the middle. He plays on a team like this. They miss the playoffs. He plays okay. We think he's okay. Like, it's all about how the team does will totally change your perception
Well, and it's
of that kind of player.
It's roles that defensemen or players in general are asked to fill. Like we've talked about, Ben Hutton as well is a good example. These are 2 defensemen that if they're on your bottom pairing, you probably love these guys.
Yeah.
But if they're forced to take top 4, top 2 sometimes minutes, the flaws start to show and they're not getting the support that they need. Gudbranson's a little older, but he's still not that old. He hasn't maybe
He's an
had
old
the
man,
best support.
26.
He's a KG veteran at 26 years old.
Both those
like Ryan
guys,
Nugent Hopkins has been in the league for 9 years and he's 24. Because he came in wearing a white lab coat like Doogie Howser.
Let me tell you something about this league, kid.
So I have a trade. Sorry, are you?
Yeah, there you go. I guess it's roles, and yeah, you're gonna look bad on a team like the Canucks if you don't have the D depth to sort of play off.
Oh, forget that. That's not happening. Good for me because I picked him up in the thing that we don't talk about.
Did you get duped?
No. So I was gonna propose a trade idea about Gudbranson before we even got on the subject today.
Okay.
There's a team out there that's playing decent hockey but has absolutely no defense whatsoever because of cap issues and whatnot that would really overpay for a defenseman, and they have some talent up front that the Canucks could use. The Chicago Blackhawks would be the team. I know that we don't usually trade with rivals.
Gustav Forsling doesn't do it for you?
No, apparently not. And neither does another year of Michael Roosevelt. Really? And Cody Franson, I didn't know he still owned a hockey stick.
The Canucks were kicking tires on him and passing on him years ago.
Yeah, well, they were up to, they knew something that everybody else didn't. There was a kid named Alex Debicrat.
Yeah. DeBrincat.
DeBrincat, who scored a shit ton of goals in juniors, has come up this year, hasn't done too much, undersized, but doesn't get a lot of ice time. So I'm thinking there's a guy that they could trade for probably. It would probably take a little more than Gudbranson because he's got a high upside, maybe a pick. And then tonight against the Ducks, end of the second period right now.
Okay.
He's got 3 goals and an assist.
So that deal's not happening.
That deal's deader than. There's another undersized forward. I like undersized forward. Maybe
on one game.
Maybe I've been hanging out with Mark Bergevin too much because I'm just pining over these undersized forwards who can't hit. Vinny Hinostroza is the other kid on Chicago that I really like.
Okay.
So anyway, Jim Benning, I'm sure you don't listen to the show. The Chicago Blackhawks are desperate for a guy like Eric Gudbranson. You might want to give him a call.
But I feel like when you talk about these young guys, a lot of the time the reason we haven't heard about them is because they're young, and unless you're in the system, in the market, you're hearing the names all the time. Management probably knows, but then maybe they're overvaluing Eric Gudbranson. I get what you're saying.
Oh, look out. I think I just figured out who Antti Niemi's next team's going to be.
The Pittsburgh Penguins again?
So Matt Murray got injured by Philadelphia tonight, but he said it was lucky.
I thought Eddie Lack was going to Pittsburgh.
He could go to Pittsburgh. That's right. I did say that. I said that Eddie Lack would get the next call. Man, clear the track. Here comes Lack. He's going to play for the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins.
From the AHL to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Started from the bottom, and now he's there.
If he gets good defensive help, Eddie Lack's fine. And he's one of those guys. He's big, positionally all right. You know,
the last time I checked, those Calgary Flames had a pretty good defense there, P-Man.
But aren't people saying that they're not playing up to snuff this year? I haven't watched a lot of Flames games, actually, so I can't really
That's
judge.
how Matt Murray got his job anyways. He took it when what's-his-face got injured.
Tristan Jarry is a pretty good goalie prospect, and he's gotten the backup role maybe a year earlier than the Penguins would have really liked because they like to let guys overripe in Wilkes-Barre. So they have another kid down there, but I'm assuming they don't want to have 2 23-year-old goalies. So a waiver claim.
How old is Murray?
Oh, they don't want to have. They don't want to have 2 more 23-year-old goalies. So a waiver claim is probably going to be the way to go here. So I'm willing to bet that they'll make a trade for Eddie Lack because he already cleared waivers, but they might be able to get him for next to nothing.
Frank Corrado, straight up.
You said they needed help on defense in Calgary. Man, this GMing stuff is easy.
Yeah,
I like the Flames D, but I mean they're not. I don't know. How are they playing? I honestly can't remember the last time.
They're playing okay.
The Flames started out
when they played the Canucks. I think those are the only times.
They're digging themselves out of the hole they dug early in the year, but
okay.
Johnny Gaudreau is 2nd or 3rd with points in the NHL right now.
Yes, I'm not complaining about his work.
Yeah,
but it's the Edmonton Oilers, the other Alberta team that dug a hole, and now they're digging deeper. It's mysterious.
It's almost unsolved.
Unsolvable?
I can't figure it out.
The Edmonton Oilers are very pleased to select from the Western Hockey League Prince Albert Raiders Leon Draisaitl.
And we have a winner. The first overall pick in the 2015 NHL draft belongs to the Edmonton Oilers.
And with that being said, the Edmonton Oilers would like to select with their first pick from the Erie Otters, Connor McDavid. And with the 4th selection in the 2016 entry draft from Karpat in Finland, Jesse Puljujärvi. The Edmonton Oilers are proud to select from the Spokane Chiefs, Kyler Yamamoto.
And there it is.
Okay, I know that everyone's super concerned about what's going on with the Oilers.
Have you heard the music?
But what if last season was the anomaly and this is the norm?
This is what we're trying to solve right now.
What if this is the normal and last year was the upside down?
Yes, exactly. That is exactly it.
Because we would watch those games wondering, why is Zach Kassian being so
good at hockey
and important and Todd Bertuzzi it didn't make any sense. Cam Talbot should have won the Vezina if it was decided in the playoffs.
He would get beaten on shots in the middle of the net and they would somehow hit the post.
Did Kassian shave his beard? Was this like Bizarro World? Is this like if you have a beard but you don't normally.
He kept his teeth in interviews.
It's just, it's
he didn't let
different.
19-year-old girls drive his truck. No,
Because these are the Oilers
that we all know.
Yeah.
These are our father. No,
These are our Oilers.
Geeta has cracked the unsolved mysteries of the Edmonton Oilers. Last year was the mystery. And they would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for us blazing kids.
Blazing kids? Oh, I guess Trudeau. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Yeah.
You're with me.
Took a while.
This is a mystery. We don't know what's going on.
They should be better. They did win last night, but they're still like way under 500.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I was saying a big part of it, they don't have the strongest D and missing Sekera, however you like to pronounce his last name.
Shakira.
Andre's out of the lineup.
She shakes her hips
Andre
and the guys can't
Shakira?
get around her. Yeah.
Let's go with that.
They don't lie.
You're missing a defenseman that's made a big impact. You don't have the strongest D-core. You've got young guys that are filling in.
They're missing Yakupov in the dressing room.
Yes, that leadership that he brings.
That Russian electro dubstep really got them pumped for the games. Now, we talk about defense. There's another guy. I know it's divisional, but Jim Benning, give the Oilers a call. Do I have a guy for you?
But what do you... Okay.
This is like
Great.
2 weeks show.
Cassian's coming back. Your jersey is relevant again.
My Zach Cassian jersey.
You know who the Canucks could use on that forecheck? Big Zach Cassian.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Connor McDavid, but yeah,
No, I'm not calling into TSN 1040.
Here's what we got to do. Patterson.
That McDavid kid's pretty good. I think we got to trade for McDavid. That'll help. I'll hang up now and listen to your thoughts.
Gudbranson in a second. Yeah, it'll happen.
I'll get it done. Gudbranson in the first this year, next year for Connor. Straight up. It's 2 first-round picks. I'll hang up and listen to your thoughts.
just radio silence. Just like, well, we can turn off the station.
Is Todd McClellan's job in jeopardy if they're this much worse last year than they are this year with the same team pretty much?
They don't have the same team, though.
It's pretty similar.
They're missing a couple, big quality scoring wingers. They're relying on Kyler Yamamoto to start the year.
Jordan Eberle only scored against the Canucks, first of all.
Fair enough. But who's going to replace those
and only
7
in
goals
April.
a year?
I think Strome's got like 3 already. He's like halfway there.
Well, they've got the wrong Strome, apparently.
They didn't know. I know there's 2 other Stromes, and they're both better than the one they got.
This is like Benning when he went for Granlund. He goes, oh, yeah, he's been doing pretty well for the Wild, hasn't he?
What do you mean that's not the same guy?
Oh. The felt board, I didn't put first names.
And his nephew has not taken the jump. Speaking of Bennings, Matt Benning. Turns out that last year was he's Ben Huttoning. He's the Ben Hutton of the Oilers, is Matt Benning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty sophomore. Where's Drake Kajula? Or is he hurt this year?
No, he's playing.
He was playing on the top.
Mark Letestu is way underachieving.
If you watch an Oilers game, not only is Gene Principe rapping Drake songs or wearing a wig or whatnot or being a lovable fool, but anybody can play on any line on those Oilers. They're throwing shit against a wall, against a felt board to see what sticks. It's
the only
mind-boggling.
The only one that's playing up to his potential seems to be the Nuge, is having a pretty decent year, and from what I've heard.
Well, the big 2 are still danger, but it's easier to shut them down when there's nobody else in the lineup that you really have to worry about as much.
The latest idea that's been bandied about to a degree of some success against Boston yesterday was playing the 3 centers separate from one another. They went with the Pittsburgh spread it around model where they got Connor as to Sid, Draisaitl as to Gino, and the Nuge as to Stahl.
Okay.
Wow, that is eerily similar. That is a pretty good idea that someone else has done before. Yeah, Jordan Stahl. In Pittsburgh, they had Sid, Gino, and Stahl. So Nuge is the Stahl.
But wouldn't he be the Benino?
Draisaitl is the... I'm going further back.
Oh, old school.
To the first cup, you numbskull.
Who's Gary Roberts?
Don't you mean Brandon Sutter?
Oh, he was in Carolina back then.
Oh,
it was a different time.
Jim Rutherford.
He was a foundational player for the Hurricanes at the time.
Instead of a foundational piece for the Canucks. And by foundation, I mean, $5 million is pretty expensive. So
here's one thing I was thinking about with a mystery.
Okay.
Is that who is the head coach of the San Jose Sharks? Or who's the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers?
It's Tom McClellan.
Yeah.
Uncle Todd.
Uncle Todd.
He coached the San Jose Sharks, who had about a solid 10-year history of by golly, they sure don't really have that compete level down there in San Jose. They really don't have. They're a little complacent in San Jose.
They made a couple conference finals down there in San Jose, and they won a lot of division titles down in San Jose.
But there was always that level of maybe they don't want to give it their all. It would usually be directed at Joe Thornton. Sometimes Joe only cares about surfing or whatever, or not wearing a shirt, kind of thing like that. But it's like he has that air of complacency around him as a head coach.
I think that they give him the full season, and if they get off to a slow start next year, they push the panic button, because they've brought in coaches.
Every coach.
All the coaches. They've tried all the colors of the rainbow. They tried the ultimate disciplinarian in Dallas Eakins. They tried the Euro coach in Ralph Kruger,
who people still revere as like that was the answer.
Well, now he's the president of an English Premiership football team, because that makes sense. He's like the president of Tottenham Hotspur or something hipster that people know.
He is. That's the funniest thing. It's like, well, hockey makes sense. Let's just make the jump
This
over.
is like when Scotty Bowman was the general manager of the Pistons for that 1 year. I made that up. I'm sorry.
He could have been. Again, I don't get the Province Sports app anymore.
Yeah.
It could be real. But yeah, no, like it just, well, Lou Lamoriello was the president of the New Jersey Nets 1 year. That actually is true. He ran the basketball team for a while.
There's been a few crossovers between the leagues.
They got to Game 6 of the NBA Finals under Lou Lamoriello. You should have seen how he had Shanahan going to the fucking boards, pulling down rebounds.
Jason Kidd and Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah, Scott Stevens setting picks in the post. Just an animal in the paint.
Well, it helps. There's only 12 guys in the other lineup, and he'd knocked 7 of them out with concussions.
Michael Jordan can't play basketball with his jaw wired shut.
Oh, jeez.
So we don't really know what's wrong with the Oilers. I think it was the mojo. They got rid of those cool jerseys. Like, people like the new darker blue.
They're weird.
It's old. It's new again. It's old again. It's new again. These are the colors that they rocked like for much of our adolescence. Was that dark navy.
Right.
But like, what was, and I think this time 2 years ago I was saying they got to change the uniforms to separate themselves from the past.
Just go back.
But those beautiful blues, they were so beautiful. Now they're gone.
They made odd choices with jerseys, if you ask me. And it's got that Doug Waite dark
blue.
blue.
Some people think they need to pick up more defensemen who can play, in front of the own net and not turn the puck over and clear traffic. I think they just got to change the uniform.
Geeta?
You know who hasn't coached the Oilers yet?
You?
Wayne Gretzky?
Ryan Smith.
We all just laugh. That's such a bad idea.
Smith or Gretzky. Patrick Waugh comes in.
Ryan Smith wouldn't be able to help himself. He'd be like Roger Dorn in Major League 2. He'd activate himself. They lose one game, and he'd be putting himself on the power play, standing in front of the net, trying to tip Larson's shot. I'm back.
Sorry.
You better save up all the Kleenex, because when I retire again in 2 weeks, here come the waterworks. No, Ryan.
I think Ryan's tearing up.
Ryan Smith is not the answer in Edmonton as a coach or a player.
I'm crying here like Ryan.
And don't forget, he's still an active hockey player right now. Ryan Smith is not retired.
Oh, so Ian Pronger can make that comeback.
Oh, no, but he's actually playing hockey. Ryan Smith is chasing an Allen Cup, if you guys remember.
That's right, yeah.
Wait, can he represent Canada still?
He would. Oh, man. He doesn't have the foot speed, but they haven't called him about the Olympics. But if the KHL players, we find out they can't go, like we've heard, they might call Ryan Smith.
Has anything been decided about that in the last couple days? Nothing's new. I've just heard it's still up in the air.
It's coming down to the wire, but I had a premonition that this would be Uncle Gary's chance at redemption. Okay, well, if you guys don't go, maybe we will go.
Oh, look at that. Whoopsie. Huh?
Psych!
Willie, we won't be needing your services anymore,
I don't get to coach.
Willie Desjardins?
I don't get to coach anymore?
He's not French.
Oh, Desjardins. Oh, yeah.
Hey, no, he specifically
He's
said...
Albertan.
He is not Desjardins. He's Desjardins. He's one of those prairie Frenchmen like some of my family.
He doesn't get anything right. He put Brandon Sutter on the power play for like 2 years. We're still waiting for that guy to score a power play goal.
Well, Jason Magna on the power play. What do you do going to Sutter? Sutter, I can, sort of forgive a little bit.
So to wrap up this segment, as it dissolves so much as the Edmonton Oilers playoff hopes have this year.
It's
we don't
November.
know. It's still a mystery because we don't know.
Can I?
And Geeta may have hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, way to railroad this segment.
Last year was the Bizarro world, and this is just what it's supposed to be.
Call Chief Hopper. He'll figure it out.
It was a Mandela effect. Do you remember the year that Oilers team made the playoffs that one time in like 20 years? No, man, you got that wrong. Mandela effect.
Well, they were due. They make the playoffs every 11 years or so. That's
true.
2006.
They show up on
every 10. There you go.
They're
So
like
2026.
They're like the clown. They just show up every 27 years.
Another problem
Scare a bunch of children.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but another problem Edmonton is their media.
They're very salty.
Is developing a Toronto-like demeanor because it talked to Jordan Eberle, and he basically said, if you're struggling in that town, you got everybody at your stall trying to, just dump all over you.
They got nothing else though. Like they don't have. There's fuck all to do in Edmonton. Like Vancouver, the Canucks suck. We move on with our lives and we find the next like butter coffee place to go hang out at because we're lame.
It's pretty good, that new one.
You guys want to watch the game, or you want to go to that 17th poke place that just opened up in Yaletown?
Oh, that does sound nice.
Yeah, actually, I could go for some poke. But in Edmonton, it's like if the Oilers shut down and they don't win games, there's nothing else to do but watch that train wreck, and they don't want to do that anymore.
But they
built that brand new arena. Did they think they were paying for wins or seats?
I saw an interesting headline out of Edmonton yesterday or the day before.
Well, it wasn't in the province, I'll tell you that.
No, it wasn't. But apparently, because of all the huge amounts of snow right now, they're using the tears of Edmonton Oilers fans to salt the road.
I liked that tweet today.
It
Mr.
wasn't
Paul.
mine, but
it's just Brian Smith on the front of that truck.
That's what they have him. They have him watch
now.
his own retirement video, and they just put him on the front of the truck, and it just takes care of it.
Wow.
Aww.
Captain Canada.
Does it hurt them also that like the guys who left Edmonton recently are playing pretty good hockey? Like Eberle had that slow start, but he's starting to pick it up, and Yakupov has very quietly had a pretty good season so far in Colorado.
Like, he was a UFA?
Yeah.
I don't know, like you almost have to shake this BS losing culture that they had a few years ago. It's like these guys could all commingle and play with Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
And now you said, we're getting rid of all the bullshit. We're going to bring in Milan Lucic for Louis Eriksson dollars and get rid of all that goal scoring and all that speed. And now you've got a slow buffoonery team.
I would rather currently have in my lineup Jordan Eberle over Lucic. Not necessarily Jordan Eberle over Strome, because I think Strome's got upside. But I'd rather have the 27-year-old who can skate and who could make Pierre Maguire have an orgasm every Christmas.
Well, Strome's another guy. You're bringing him in thinking of potential. Edmonton's been doing that for quite a while. You're building guys. Oh, we need guys that are going to be good later. But right now, they are a team that can probably start going, okay, you know what? We can sell some potential to win right now, because you got a guy like Connor McDavid, and we saw with Sidney Crosby, it didn't take too long for that team to fully turn things around. You build a winner around this guy now. Like, you've got a lot of cogs and pieces, and you're going to get some more prospects in the system. You hold on to a few, but you don't have to hold on to them all, because you're not building for 5 years from now anymore.
So moving to another...
Oh, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Ooh.
Before we finish on Edmonton.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that based on all the clips you heard on that music, draft a fucking defenseman in the first round.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, I left the laughter in for Taylor Yamamoto because it's like, okay, good.
Kyler,
sorry.
He's got a millennial name.
Oh, he's got a brother, I think. I think there's two of them.
I'm Kyler Yamamoto.
Draft a defenseman. Don't trade Taylor Hall for one. You did it right with Darnell Nurse. Draft some defense.
Yeah.
That's all
Darnell
I'm
Nurse is a pretty good hockey player.
Yeah.
But his cousin is Donovan McNabb.
Did
you know?
Yeah, I'm still in the camp, like, draft the best player available and then trade your best asset possible for defenseman or whatever. But I get what you're saying.
We talk about
if
the
it's
same
on the
thing
fence,
every year.
For sure.
It's just like, give it a whirl. If it's not, trade down for one.
Could somebody please get Chris Johnston from Hockey Insider like a monopod for his phone? Does he add a lot of coffee?
It's a lot. He's gotten in a lot of hits.
Just put it, like, lean it against a book or something, you idiot.
For the folks at home, describe viewing here. There was a reporter on Sportsnet that looked like he was doing a hit with his cell phone. What do you call that? I never use it.
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
but the camera was up
Yeah,
against his face.
you know, I like
Earthquakes aren't anything to joke about.
That's also
Paul.
not a flattering angle for
Holy
him.
shit.
if you're in a war zone, this is fine because that's what you got.
He should have a bulletproof vest that says
We're
press
live
on
from
it.
the war zone in Winnipeg or Calgary.
They're burning down Connor McDavid's house.
Thanks, Tom. It's very musty here in the basement of the Saddle Dome. I'm not getting that good reception because I'm with Telus. But you are. I can't hear. I've lost you. I can't hear you.
Let's ask.
He's got earbuds in. What is he? Is he poor? Can he not afford Bluetooth?
If you're gonna do that, at least lie down in bed so you can hold the camera steady, like Patrick Laine used to do. He had it down.
Yeah, but he's handsome and he's got a nice chest.
Geeta, what do you do
he's
to
millennial.
Geeta, what do you do to fix the Oilers?
Good question. I
Do
don't
you make a panic trade?
know.
Do
No, because they've been hoarding these guys for so long. That doesn't seem like something they would do.
They did. They panic traded the old guys they hoarded.
Yeah.
He's even shooting vertically. I'm sorry, I can't get past this.
Dave, they can't see it. I know you work in film, but
They got a program feed.
I don't know. Do they have somebody they think is expendable on this current group?
well, I think we're at the point now with the Oilers that you just might want to try mixing it up this season with some of the players who aren't core guys.
Yeah.
But you're going like, are you gonna move one of these bottom six guys or a couple of them just for different just to mix it up in the room, because there's still a lot of talent in that dressing room and a couple of different,
Like is this
people might mesh better with others, but you need to mix it up
Was
a
this the
little.
summer they signed Lucic, or was that last year?
2 years ago, yeah.
Okay. Because it just feels like they thought they were going for something,
Yeah, and they didn't.
and they didn't. Well, they did last year,
It's second round.
and then they didn't. They haven't seen a second round in a long time.
And they won't anymore. They should. But, I mean, it's just when Connor McDavid was good.
But that's the thing. Like, at the beginning of the season, did we not all pick Edmonton, like, to win the Stanley Cup or something like that?
I think Ryan did.
No.
I certainly did not, and I was shocked at how consensus. I thought they were going to be a lot better than they are.
I'm pretty sure I thought Edmonton was playing Toronto in the finals from what I was being told back in September.
I honestly can't remember who I picked. I have no idea. Could have been Pittsburgh. Maybe I picked them.
But you guys are
Maybe
both
I
hot
picked
on Edmonton out of
Tampa.
the West.
But, like,
I
this
think.
seriously doesn't feel unusual. It just seems like, oh, yeah, this is Edmonton.
Speaking of hot teams and teams in Canada, you know who's back in the game?
Tiger
The
Woods?
Montreal Canadiens.
Oh,
They
yeah.
beat the Columbus Jackets tonight.
Did they?
On
3-1.
another like 70,000 save performance by sometimes injured, often injured goaltender Carey Price.
Yeah, I don't think they're back on track.
2 in a row.
Ouch.
Pull that mic away when you do that.
2 in a row.
They
Sorry,
they
Geeta.
played Saturday
That's
night.
okay.
They played Buffalo.
Yeah.
And Carey was pitching a 3-goal shutout. It was a
Right.
3-0 shutout going in last minute.
Yeah.
And a couple of shows ago, you got pretty hot about video review and coaches' challenges.
It's stupid. I don't like it.
This was one that
This was from the booth though. This was a call down from the war room.
No, they challenged.
Did they challenge? Are you
Ba-
sure? I think this was an automatic review.
No, this was a challenge. Basically, somebody, I forget who it was. Oh, Sam Reinhard. They said he made contact with Carey Price's head. He brushed up against him, and
Okay.
that prevented him at a capacity enough.
Carey Price's head is up real high.
Yeah, so he jumped to punch him over.
Yeah.
That's how they wrote it up in the press box in Montreal. That he super jump punched Carey Price, leaving him incapacitated for Evander Kane to deposit the puck into the empty net.
Yeah.
When what really happened is he hover-handed
Yeah.
There was a
Carey Price like he was a grade 9 kid on a date. He barely touched him.
Okay.
And then Evander Kane put an honest to goodness rebound past Carey Price that he wouldn't have had anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the end of a nice story. It's 3-1 and not 3-0, but they still get the win and whatever.
Yeah.
Nope.
But this
not
is
in Montreal.
And it was such a long review, and I almost think that they were on the phone with the war room going,
Come on, it's a better story.
It's like, well, he's got the shutout. Let's just give it to him.
We-
It's Evander Kane. Nobody likes him.
Yeah, screw him.
And you know what? There's a lot of times where I'm all for video review when goal interference is bullshit. This was not one of them.
But they don't. And this leads into another point that I haven't even made.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about this forever. But this is a factor that we haven't discussed until just now. that sometimes they don't get it right. Even with the review, they don't get it right. Like the one in Toronto against Matthews was horrible. That was a terrible call where they said that that the goalie was interfered with when they scored, when they said Ranta got bumped in that Arizona-Toronto game when they tied it with a couple minutes left. Like, he got bumped, and you could have counted to 10. He could have gone up and down on the butterfly like 3 times.
I'm starting to think
yes, the Brent Burns commercials are
that
hilarious.
new?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. That's
Again,
so
this is just, we watch TV.
There's a commercial with Brent Burns fighting a Sasquatch. It's amazing. I love cryptozoology and Brent Burns, and they bring it together.
It's all the things that Paul likes. The only thing that could have made it better is if he was holding a Talesman ale.
Well, the packaging was called Jumbo. I'm like, why is Joe not a part of this?
That's a little tie-in, a little nod to Jumbo.
He'll be in the next one.
You ever notice in baseball with video reviews, or even with hockey, you almost get the sense that they kind of go against the call just to kind of let
to justify its existence.
Yeah, or to have the authority stay with the referee or the umpires.
Right.
This was one of those times, I think.
You better get your tinfoil hat on.
This
there,
was
Ryan.
human error.
I just think that human error has been part of sports. This is my closing argument on this, and it will always be. And believe it or not, if you run the numbers, I'm sure it'll come out this way. It's like life. Things have a way of evening out. Sometimes the call will be bad and it'll go your way.
Right.
And that's like, think of all the most memorable, and then sometimes it is all the most memorable moments in sports. Like some of the craziest things that have happened in all of professional sports have been on like blown calls and mistakes. And that makes it fun because in life, there is no video review.
It's getting deep here.
Sometimes there is.
Okay, when you rob a liquor store, there probably is video review. But like, you know what I mean, though. Like, it's silly. It slows the game down. Sports takes too long. People are busier than they used to be now. We don't have 4 hours to have a hockey game play out. What drives me crazy too is when they review a review. They'll review a goal for kicked in, and then the goalie might have been pushed. Let's review it again.
Let's check the offsides while we're at it.
Check it all at once. Check it all at once.
This is Dave's round 7
all right.
video review.
It really reminded me.
Oh, no, can finish your thought.
That's all I got.
Well, it really reminded me from one of the first 24/7s, and I have the clip lined up, where Peter Laviolette was coaching for the Flyers, and calls were not going his way. And he basically says that this is typical Montreal hockey.
Montreal goes down, closing in on goal. But then, just seconds later, rookie Sean Couturier is whistled for slashing.
Are you kidding me? I agree with you on the slash. Yeah, what's up? Isn't that a trip on Yogs?
No, he just tried to jump over him. He tried to jump over him.
He tried to poke him, but he tripped him.
On the bench, an enraged Laviolette demands an explanation for the non-call on the Yager play.
You tell me what he did.
Okay, the guy is going down. Your guy is cutting.
Yep.
Your guy initiated
Did he get the puck? Did he get the puck?
No,
because that guy's going to score a frickin' goal.
Hey, Pete, I got it. Okay, I see it. In my opinion, that's not a goal.
Well, why not?
Because the guy is down. Your guy initiated.
Instead, we're killing another frickin' penalty here.
I know we're in Montreal.
Let's go.
Side of that pass in front. Borowski slides across. It's behind him. Is it in the net? It is. They score.
That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. What a joke. It's typical. Montreal typical.
Convinced the officials of...
And it was a French-Canadian referee, which doesn't help things.
No, that's what I remembered listening back.
I appreciate his use of frickin', you know? They get mad at, players and coaches for swearing a lot.
Apparently Lavi's a pretty clean guy.
Interesting. As we were talking about some mistakes while we're talking about mistakes, Ryan, and you're saying I should do a correction segment. I'll just bring this one up because it might give some hope to some people. Tyroning doesn't have a contract with the New York Rangers.
But he was invited to
amateur tryout.
Amateur tryout.
With the farm team. But if you're hopeful that he could come to Vancouver, it's still a possibility.
We see enough of Cliff as it is.
He'd be at every game.
I think that with the numbers he's putting up this year in junior, he'll probably get a deal.
He should get a sniff, but
he'll get a deal with New York.
Yeah, is he going to want to go back into the draft or whatever?
No, the Rangers will sign him. Why not sign him? Why not take a guy? It's like Dane Fox. It's worth a shot. Where is Dane Fox? If anybody knows where Dane Fox is, tweet us. Tweet at us.
Dane Fox, tweet at us.
If Dane Fox, if you want to tweet at us, although you were never drafted, so you can't. But if Dane Fox is playing hockey in your hometown, let us know. Inquiring minds want to know, mainly Trevor Linden and his old buddy Thatcher Demko. I always noticed at camp that those two would be hanging out a lot.
For those that are listening that don't remember Dane Fox, he was the coattail riding on that Erie Otters line with Connor McDavid.
He rode the better Strom's coattails.
Yeah.
I have already forgot. I thought you were talking about Dane, what's his name, Cook?
Yeah.
This whole time I thought Dave was, I'm like, I didn't even know he played hockey. That's interesting.
Just as irrelevant. No. The better Dane Cook, who actually had some success, Ryan Reynolds, he plays hockey.
Local boy.
Yeah. I used to think that that was the same guy. In the early 2000s, they very much were.
Justin Bieber was playing hockey in Whistler this weekend.
I'm so sick of seeing highlights of Justin Bieber playing hockey. His skills are greatly exaggerated.
Yes, you are on the spreadsheet saying that you're better at hockey than Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber couldn't beat me on my worst day with the flu.
I would just like to say that one of these high school boys that played with Justin Bieber said that he had silky hands and he knew where to be on the ice.
He looks awkward out there.
He's got a cage on.
He wears a cage, strike one, and he's got a very choppy stride.
I thought it was pretty cool that he asked to play with a hockey team.
I would have told him no. Plus, my league is 30 and over, so he would not be eligible.
I'm pretty sure he's 30 now. Come on, Dave. He's getting old.
His organs might be about 30.
Did you see Naked Ryan Kessler's video?
Yeah,
they pulled it. They pulled it. It's down.
Wow.
It's off.
I wanted to ask if we could talk about the worst human error this week.
In an era in this time and place when everybody's very concerned about
showing your penis to people
Yeah.
at the workplace.
No, that is a major PR blunder from someone who works in PR.
Did they hire the kid who's been working for the Vegas Golden Knights to take over?
Did we talk to you about that? No. Ryan and I were talking about this.
No.
I found his.
I got to tell you. Okay, I got to set this up.
Okay.
So I'm at work, on Sunday morning, and a woman that works in the newsroom who might actually be listening because she's really intrigued about this show. So if she is, funny, leave nameless.
Thanks for listening.
She's talking about how much she loves. She just hopped on the train. She loves the Golden Knights Twitter.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, they're not that funny. They're stupid. They're going to write this bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Jonathan Marchessault is going to get his head caved in because of that. And she's like, oh, they're so funny. They're so clever. Within the hour, out of the blue, PMAC texts me. Haven't talked to him in a couple days. And he goes, man, the Vegas Golden Knights social media guy looks a lot like Donald Trump Jr. And it's a spitting image, complete with unnecessarily long red tie.
Oh, no.
I can't find his account, so I can't remember his name. I obviously really cared about this, but I was shocked. I saw somebody retweet him or something, and I was like, oh, this must be the... And I'm like, oh, yeah, that looks like who I figure would be running this account, taking shots at, the Montreal Canadiens and stuff in the preseason for winning one game.
I bet the guy's not even a hockey guy. He's like, let's do that hockey. Because that was crazy. He's like, oh, yeah, all the cups that you guys won when there were only 6 teams in the league. They won 2 cups when there were over 20 teams in the league. And at the time, you guys hadn't even won a game yet. So
hey, but they won a preseason game.
Yeah.
Hey,
they've won a lot. Hey, to be fair, they've won a lot of hockey games since.
Here's my before we started the show, I said bold prediction: Stanley Cup final, Penguins, Golden Knights. But Dylan Ferguson's in net because they keep getting hurt. Pass that to Dave. Look at Donnie Trump Jr.
Totally looks like Don Trump Jr.
Anyway, so I saw that.
Oh my God, is that a Halloween costume?
Maybe it is because we're still.
That's gotta be, but
he's also 4 years old.
Anyway,
I need you to wrap this up.
His hashtag is
you just got a
puns
Tinder
intended.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close
I
this.
can't go dressed as Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, if any Queen fans,
why can't we get along?
I've already been a jerk enough to this guy. I just gotta go.
For Queen fans out there, Live Aid 85 Wembley set. That's what Geeta is dressed at.
Current attire. She's cosplaying.
Yeah, no studded black belt, but it's a spitting image. You said he had a better mustache, but that's about it. I'm going to close this week's show with a good review of the podcast on the iTunes store. Mm-hmm. The subject line...
From notryansmom.com.
No, that's her Patreon username. The subject line is, wish it was twice a week. Listen, we're busy people. It's not happening.
2 of the 4 of us are very busy.
Actually, yeah. Okay, I'm here to pump up the Pucks on That podcast because the The crew are like the forgotten stepchild that needs daddy's approval.
I don't have a dad, and neither does Paul.
I saw this actually, and that was across my mind.
We don't have dads. Thanks, asshole.
Upsetting. Merry Christmas.
His username is hurts me with an E, so his username resonates and describes how Paul.
Well, he's hurt us very deeply
with an E and a U. But besides, the podcast is really good. It's witty and funny and very entertaining. It concentrates mostly on the Canucks, but they throw in stuff around from the league, so give it a listen. You won't be disappointed. I gave it 4 thumbs up. I made my wife hold up her 2 thumbs up. So hurts me, email the podcast directly, pucksonnetca@gmail.com if you're still listening, because I will get a hold of you and send you something nice.
I won't be sending you something nice. Have you ever had to play catch by yourself?
Oh, yeah. Wait. Something nice.
Dave and I go to the park every week, and we both play catch by ourselves.
No one taught us how to do it properly. So we just throw balls in the same direction.
Parallel lines.
Yeah, we're like, this isn't fun. I don't see what the big deal is.
All right, see you next week, Dave. It's a set date.
Bucks on that Secret Santa.
Yeah, Geeta wants to do a Secret Santa for the Christmas show.
Okay.
What's the limit?
$5.
Couple of bucks.
Oh. So that means I know what I'm getting, Geeta.
You haven't drawn my name.
We'll work on a draw.
Okay.
So that'll wrap up this week's show. Again, if you want to be like hurts me and
Was there something else we were supposed to bring up?
I don't know.
I can't remember what you told us to.
T-shirts.
Something. Get your T-shirts or your mugs.
Yeah, we're getting there, doing plugs.
Okay,
I'm surprised you
Chop,
didn't
chop.
go for the Pucks on Net Christmas ornament.
There, you can make Pucks on Net socks. And I was thinking about making a pattern for that. But
Pucks on socks.
Pucks on socks. If you want to get some merchandise, we're selling these for
2 people have dates. Holy shit.
Who has a date?
Doesn't PMAC have a
No,
date?
Ryan and I are just going to make sure this guy's okay. We're going to be watching from a few feet away.
Yeah,
We're going to check him at the door.
Oh, is he coming here?
No.
Is it Tony?
And I'm going to be late.
Geeta asked us to stalk tonight. We don't know if we're actually going to do it.
Is this actually true?
Yeah, the longer we keep talking, the more later. Look at she's getting all
I know,
excited.
because I was really mean to him. Well, what if he listens now?
Too many Stephanies.
All right, so go buy a shirt.
I told him 8:30. I'm ordering tea.
This show has derailed romantic
Dave,
relationships
cut
before.
it out. Geeta's just going to go.
That's not the Goodbye music. That's Crazy Little Thing by Love, called Love by Queen, because that's how Geeta's dressed.
Well, we should wrap this up because Cinderella's got to get ready for the ball.
She's already getting ready, so she's off headset. So yeah, Pucks on Net merchandise, teespring.com/store/Pucks on Net or whatever it is. You can find it on our pucksonnet.ca.
We'll find out next week if this is a love connection or another episode of
Dump and Chase. Follow us on Twitter at pucksonnet.ca or pucksonnet. I know that was a very good out, but follow us on Twitter, patreon.com/pucksonnet. 5 Minutes for Paying was already recorded. It's very Christmassy.
If you want to get something for Christmas for me and Paul, it's lessons on how to play catch or new dads.
Wow.
Good night, everybody.
I would try and tell